Hi, we're back. So we've had a look around the distillery. We've introduced you to the ladies, the stills. You've had a look at some of the specialist things that we do in the back with the laser machines and the bespoke etched bottles. What I'm now going to do is continue with what we call a tour de Yorkshire. So as part of a distillery tour, you will taste 6 of our London dry gins. Now, there's a story around Hooting Owl, and Hooting Owl was founded in 2016. We're in a place called Barnby Moor, which is a small village about 8 miles east of York. And it started in 2016 when I essentially retired, bought a large manor house and decided to do up the house. And the idea was go play golf, do something a bit more chilled. But after 3 days of this retirement, I got quite bored. And while we were refurbishing the house, while we were putting a new floor in the scullery, we found a hidden floor safe. And in that hidden floor safe, we found a diary of Sir Alfred Tyton Hodgins. Attached to that diary was a recipe book of his 6 London dry gins. So I decided to follow the journey of Sir Alfred and learn a bit more about the making of gin. After doing this for a couple of weeks, I decided that the future would be to relaunch Sir Alfred's gins. So we started in 2017 with the launch of Hooting Owl Distillery Signature Gin. Now, Sir Alfred Tyton Hodgins, the Owl, he's obviously a fictitious figure, but he was a curious character. And a lot of the stories around him are based on the truth and true history. We then look at botanical history and we look at geographics when we look at North, East, South and West Yorkshire. Now, as a proud Yorkshireman, South Yorkshire's slightly problematic because I'm a great believer that anything south of the M62 is France and I generally don't go there. But we're going to look at all these gins. The first gin we discovered was Hooting Owl Signature Gin. It's a London dry gin, and what we mean by London dry is everything in that bottle has travelled through the still. We're not allowed to add any flavours, any colouring or any sweeteners, so everything within that bottle has travelled through the still. The only thing we add at the end is water. As a London dry gin, you'll see it's perfectly clear, so there is no colour, as colour doesn't travel through stills. This gin contains 18 botanicals, starting with juniper, coriander seed, angelica root, orris root, dandelion root, burdock root, and here's a bit of a strange one, mountain ash. Now, some people know mountain ash as rowan berries, and they are slightly toxic if you eat an awful lot of them. However, we only use a small amount in the still, and the toxins won't travel through because they're rather heavy compounds. But what it does make for is a really dry gin. And the reason we use mountain ash is because back in 1827, the local vicar at Barnby Moor used to come into York every Saturday evening. And he'd come into York for nobody knew why. And he'd arrive back at Barnby Moor on a Sunday morning. And he'd have a few sherbets with his breakfast at Barnby Moor House. And then he'd retire to the church to give his sermon and inevitably fall asleep drunk in the pulpit. Now, this is true, and we have actually got newspaper clippings of the event. So the locals complained to the Archbishop of York and they decided to move him. So they moved him to a little village in Glamorgan called Mountain Ash. Another name for mountain ash is rowan berries. So as a result of mountain ash and rowan and that story, we use rowan berries in all our gins. And it's the same story through all our gins as we go through the different botanical ranges that we use. Signature Gin, it's got 2 stars at the Great Taste Award and is the base for the other 5 London dry gins. So the recipes are all very similar because very small changes to recipes make a massive difference to the flavour of the compound.